Austerlitz. Now I'm going to be playing my Austerlitz variation. Click on the link below and go to my blog and you'll have a short explanation of how I handle Napoleon's deception at Austerlitz. Now today I'm using the reserve cards. Here we see this is Sue's reserve card. He has a huge corps. Here's the HQ. His corps is lined up behind him like that, and they're not placed on the map until spotted. Ditto with Linné's corps over here. His troops are in this valley. The coalition player only sees these 5 blocks and the 2 HQs. So he knows there's some troops on reserve cards. Over here on the coalition side, I've done some interesting things. Bagration's advance guard is here with all his units on reserve card. Colruyt's 4th Corps is here. All his units are on reserve card. Now here I have Doktorov. What I've done with Doktorov is I've taken the Russian 1st, 2nd, 3rd Corps. All their artillery is in the line on the Pratzen, and I've placed them under Prebyshev's command. Prebyshev's infantry has been placed under Doktorov's command. Over here in the coalition right, Kenmeyer's Austrian Corps is simply holding the refused flank. The Russian Guard Corps under Konstantin is here on the Pratzen along with all the artillery. Here we have Liechtenstein's cavalry. The coalition plan is to hit hard through here and then sweep up. I'm playing with the orders rules, and to change any orders, the coalition has to roll a 1 or a 2. Now this is the last video you'll see me rolling to change orders. In the future, order changing will be automatic, but you have to do it before any chits are drawn. Bernadotte's 1st Corps and the Guards. They'll be coming up the Olmütz Road and taking the Pratzen from the flank. Now this French force coming on, and then Davout's 3rd Corps will be coming on over here on turn 2. Now when either Davout or any of these French troops become spotted, I roll a die. Until I make that roll, neither player knows the true size of the enemy's force. The first 3 turns of Austerlitz, we have the fog of Austerlitz, and you can only see 1/3 of an infantry move. If you want to understand the justification behind this variation of the scenario, check out my blog post in the link below. The coalition left advances. Now when you place a reserve formation on the map, they appear like this, and there you have it. The Austrian cavalry moves out, covering the right flank of the advancing group. Murat and his cavalry lead the French troops up the Olmütz Road. Now one of the subtle effects of the order rules is that cavalry does not need orders. They can move about independently. At this point, in the fog, neither side can see one another. And now we go to turn 2, mid-morning, and the coalition attack begins. What must be running through Napoleon's mind? In the fog, unable to see anything, he hears combat off on his right. And yet where he is advancing, he finds nothing. Is this a catastrophe or a dream come true? The battle for Telnitz. The lightly held position falls. In the orchards and chateau north of Sokolnitz. It's lightly held and it falls too. Also note, Davout's 3rd Corps has entered. And now it's turn 3, the late morning. And still the fog clings. Murat's cavalry sweeps forward. And now the moment of decision. They've come within line of sight of an Austrian unit. Was this a bluff? Did Napoleon bring everyone? No. This is a 3. 1, 2, or 3, no one's there. Napoleon and the Guard, Murat, Bernadotte, Davout are somewhere else, creating mayhem, and Sue and Linné must hold the coalition army here. So the French have Linné's corps in this river valley, and Sue's corps in this river valley. A few detachments in between. This turn, Sue and Linné have changed orders. This means they can't alter turn order. The French player hopes Sue is drawn early and can deploy his corps before the coalition tide sweeps over them. Sue pivots his forces and reacts. Now his orders had him occupying this ridge. That's what he's still trying to do. Linné has deployed with his artillery at the church on the hill. Combat opens up on the coalition left as they outflank Sioux. They get 2 hits, Sioux gets 1 hit. The front of Sioux's line is sent reeling back. Although the best troops of St. Hilaire's division hold ground, they're all that's holding the French line. Everything else has fallen back and is in confusion. And now it's midday and the fog clears and the French disaster is seen. Can they recover? Now here's something interesting with the order's rules and why it plays differently with them. Sioux's orders are to hold this line. He'd like to be doing a flank attack here, but that's not his orders. His orders are to attack this way. He defends that position, he supports that defense, but that has nothing to do with his orders.
My bad. They can move forward, but they cannot change their facing.
Now his cavalry can't actually attack, he can't get enough of his block to attack the flank. So if he was going to attack there, he'd need to attack to the front, and that would place him in a flank position. He elects not to attack. Now we have turn 5, early afternoon combat. Liechtenstein and his Austrian cavalry were hoping to get a surprise attack and sweep away the French artillery. But they saw them coming, they anticipated, and they blasted them with grape. And that was the last charge of Hohenlohe's elite cavalry. Which, if I'd been thinking with both brain cells, this unit, heavy cav, elite, could have charged, taken the artillery in the side. But I didn't do that. My bad. Over here, Legrand's assault on elements of Colrace's 4th Corps. Legrand's division stops and drives back Colrace's troops, but at great cost. And now it's mid-afternoon, and the French are desperate. The only hope is they can change their orders and extricate themselves from this position. Although Colrace and Bagration, without changing orders, their orders tell them to move this way. Doktorov's huge Russian force has orders to line up here. Then they have to change their orders to begin rolling up that way. And remember, since Napoleon has the smaller force here, to win this scenario, he only has to survive. The French troops have to avoid taking 50% casualty. That's 4 infantry blocks. They've lost 2, but it's not over yet. Soon needs to roll 4 or less to change his orders. 5. In the confusion, he's unable to change his orders. Late afternoon combat, Bagration's attacks. It has happened so many times in this battle, the French break the Austrian assault, but at a heavy cost they can't really afford to absorb. Last action of this turn, the Hussars try to run down a detachment. Which they do. And now we zoom in for the final action. Early evening. Bagration's advance guard turns on the gas. 4th Corps artillery fires on the French cavalry, who ride off. Now it's turn 7. Early evening. Sioux's corps is getting away. The only hope on this last turn, and it's a long hope, is that Sioux will be drawn first. And he had to flip to change his orders, which he was able to do. So he can't alter the turn order. If he goes first, there's a chance that the cavalry could catch them. Liechtenstein's corps is drawn. If he can roll a 1 or 2, he can alter turn order and hopefully hold off. That's a 4, he cannot. He attacks in the flank, but Sioux is yet to move. Now, Sioux moves. At this point, the advance guard cavalry, they can just reach. So I'll put them up here for the attack, but it still won't be enough, because this is an elite block. The best they can do is hope to get a retreat, and that won't win the game. And instead, they take 2 hits and are destroyed. They deliver 2 hits, one of which is absorbed by the elite status, the other one does flip it to spent. The cavalry combat. The cavalry battles to ineffectiveness. Both units are eliminated. Now cavalry doesn't count against breaking the French army. The smaller French force has survived a day at Austerlitz. Now critically here, I was unable to successfully roll to change orders for the Russian guard. So they sat here through the whole battle and simply watched. Now it makes sense, they were winning, but it was not enough. Good game. Good game.